Well, good morning, everyone. I think something happened. Something has shifted. It's definitely not as humid and hot and sweltering right off the bat. And so maybe the season is changing. I've been in a year-round climate for 32 years in Los Angeles, and this will be my second winter, my first full season in a seasonal climate. So this is going to be interesting. I thought I would take you around, show you what's been going on on the property, and let's go take a look. So I have basically the raised bed garden, the terrace garden, the orchard, which is in development, the flower bed, the vineyard, tiny, and of course the big lower garden, and of course the big side garden. So everything is kind of spread out. And when you develop a property, especially if you're changing your lawn to garden, you've got to figure out where your sun is. So that is what I did, and that's why things are spread out, but that's where the sun hits, you know. And so let me give you an overview from this angle. So those are the raised beds. That's the first thing that was developed. And the orchards on the other side of the terraces. These are the tomato terraces, and they have really seen better days. The cranberry hibiscus still looks fabulous, but the tomatoes look terrible. That's the little vineyard. All those grapevines are still alive. This is the flower bed right here, and the deer ate all of the sunflowers except for one, and that's the big lower field garden down there. That's 50 by 105 feet. And we pulled back the tarp 15 feet. In case you're just joining me for the first time, we pulled back the tarp 15 feet, and you see it looks so great from a distance. I've got purple hull peas, corn, and some okra down there. It looks so beautiful when the sun is hitting that in the late afternoon, but upon closer inspection, oh gosh, army worms. I don't know if it was grasshoppers or what, just the corn has been eaten up. But I do think I'm going to get some peas. So let's just take a quick close-up of everything, and I want to take you way down to the property over there to tell you what's been going on. Before we head down, I just want to show you this amazing cranberry hibiscus. It is such a gorgeous plant. Now this is an annual in a seasonal climate, so it will probably die back. It's still coming on. We haven't had any blooms yet, so I'm looking forward to that. The blooms are what you collect and make tea. What is this? What is that in there? But you see they look very healthy. Nothing attacked them. They're one of the few things that did not get attacked. And you see the tomatoes just are decimated. Too much rain, not enough rain. They're done. And even though these yellow pears are really pretty, I grew a lot of those. I won't be growing those again. The blue spice basil did pretty well in this location. And the star of the show right now is my one and only sunflower. I'm just stunned that I've gotten one. The seashells looked fabulous, so did the 4 o'clocks, but now I can see the leaves are starting to yellow and they're not quite as pretty. The roselle is just going to town. Look at that. And roselle is another hibiscus, so I'm looking forward to collecting the calyxes and candying them. This is the Thai basil, which did incredibly well. And I just did some fermented tomatoes for the very first time in my life with the Thai basil. That's the only basil I have. And look at this. I started this English lavender from seed. I had never grown lavender from seed. And isn't that beautiful and smells fantastic? These tomatoes look bad because I never gave them the proper support. Look, their tomatoes are laying on the ground. I just didn't do enough gardening. So check this out. Wow! Isn't that beautiful? I am so proud of that sunflower, and it looks like it's going to have a companion. This is the little vineyard. You see there's new growth on all of the 9 grapevines, and I just set these 2 watermelon planters down here. They're still growing. I don't see any fruit. We may not get any fruit now. Come down to this end. Now what will happen in here is we will be putting in the lines and the posts for the grapevines. But that watermelon looks good too, but it's so late now, I don't know how I could get any fruit. I put the watermelons in here just for protection because there was space. Wait, what is this? This looks like fennel. No, that is, I think that's dill. Wow. That's unexpected. I don't have any dill. I mean, I do have dill now. Let's get down here and I'll show you the close-up of the lower garden, how it worked out. You saw me plant this, and Justin put hay to suppress the weeds, because as soon as we got it planted, the weeds were just going crazy. And of course they still do if you give them an opening. But this is an example of what armyworm damage looks like on corn. And I've heard from other people in Tennessee this year that said the armyworms were terrible. Oh, it's so hard to walk on this hay. I keep falling. This really got beat up. I mean, oh my gosh. Obviously, I dropped the ball here. So, I mean, I can see that this is my fault and I should have been on top of this. It's so far away from the porch and it looks so great from a distance. You can see I've got some bug damage on the peas too. They haven't set any peas yet, so everything is very late. But peas are a legume, so even if I don't get peas, the plants themselves will be great for green manure. Here's this red crimson okra, which, believe me, is so good. But look, so much bug damage and weeds. Look at all these weeds. Where the hay is, no weeds. Where there's no hay, weeds. Even though we killed everything down here. It's kind of the same story over here. Some of the corn doesn't look quite as eaten up. I was all worried about the deer, and we surrounded this garden with Milorganite. I think that's how you pronounce it. You can see a little dark strip here. Someone had told me that it had worked for them to keep the critters out. I had Justin come down and work on these because the weeds were taking over, and of course the initial deer damage was devastating, but they're still all looking not too horrible, not too bad. You know, this was the initial problem, whatever this is. But I've got these pretty new green leaves. If anybody knows what this is and what to do about it, let me know. The little cherry trees and pear trees that we planted down here. You know, they're alive, but they've got these orange spots. So, you know, you've got to have the time to take care of everything, and I got overextended. These look better, but then up here you have this. I have a lot to learn about fruit trees. Basically all I had in California was easy stuff. Pineapple guavas and figs just grow like weeds in California, and you don't have to worry. Here's my castor bean. Everything on this plant is poisonous. The leaves, the seeds, the stems, but it's so pretty. Daryl gave it to me and I planted it. I also planted this banana, but it has not done well in this location. In fact, nothing has done well underneath this big tree. I think the tree roots of this pine tree extend out to here and either suck up all the water or change the pH or something. Okay, the cannas still got a couple of blooms happening. So exciting to see this. And I need to come down here and trim these. Yesterday I collected a lot of seeds. So here's the far end of the silage tarp, and my plan was for this to be my main garden, and at some point, if things did well, right under the shade of this tree in the afternoon I would have a picnic table here and sell produce if, you know, it went that well. But what we're doing now is very different, and I have to explain what happened here. So I told this story on my last live stream that I finally made the acquaintance of a wonderful neighbor, and I kind of chased him down because he went by on a tractor, and I thought maybe I could hire him to disc the area where the silage tarp is. And so we got to talking, and I told him, you know, the idea is to move the silage tarp over to the forested mulched area and leave it for the whole winter and kill off everything underneath. So I have a clean slate for the spring on this side. And much discussion. At any rate, he said he'd come by and take a look. And he did. But he came by with his tractor and his bush hog, and he bush hogged this whole thing. And I was in the kitchen the whole time. I didn't even hear him. And he texted me later and he said, by the way, I bush hogged that area. That's what good neighbors do. And so far he has refused compensation, so we'll see. But anyway, let me give you a look at it. So it's all here. See, this was, if you can see all the high bushes up there right at the edge of that silage tarp, that's how high. Everything was knee high in here. And so he took it all down. It's still really, really rough. It's not like I could throw grass seeds down and have a lawn here. That's not the deal. But my plan is, you know, like I was saying before, you need to keep things closer to you. And of course, moringa is not an all year thing here. So I'm going to dig up whatever moringa is left over here. It's not much. And put it in pots and take it up and put it in my sunroom. Try to keep it alive for the winter. And meanwhile, the forsythia, I can't even find them because they were mixed in with all the weeds here, and he came through here with a bush hog, and so I think they might have gotten sliced. It's funny, from a distance, the flower bed looks like just a little clump until you get up closer and you realize it's 20 by 30. One of the plans, I want to put a border around this in stones, so there's a delineation between If the grass grows up, you'll know that there's still something in there and it's not just a bunch of weeds. On our way to the side garden, I just want to see if we can see in the cistern. There is a light switch. I don't usually come over here. Justin usually does. Makes me a little bit nervous, but spiders and so forth. Where is the light switch? Where is the light switch? Well, there's the light, but where's the switch? I can't tell where the water level is. I hope it's not way down there. So here is the side garden. Haven't had to worry about deer with the fence here. Look how pretty the okra is. I'll definitely be growing okra again. Okra is so sneaky when you pick it. You go all the way down the row and back down the row, and then when you get to the other side, you go, how did I miss that? This side is so much healthier than the other side. I got a lot of eggplants out of here yesterday and some okra. Take a look. You know, squash is opportunistic. It's growing through the netting, so that means it's going to be hard to clear all that out when the vines are dead. But boy, did this bean trellis come in handy, especially since I threw in some Guatemalan heirloom squash seeds. And that's what these monsters are. I don't know if you can see that thing in there, but that's 2 feet long. And oh great, you can see the powdery mildew from here. Look at those spots on the leaves. I figured it wouldn't be long, but that thing is like a boat. It's huge. And I've got a few big ones. I believe they're supposed to turn green though when they're ripe. Got another big one coming through the fence there. Got another big one down there. This okra, in spite of getting completely bug eaten, is trying to make a stand. And the corn was a bust. It was a good lesson. I learned my lesson, learned some lessons. Got a lot of weeds coming in here. We needed hay around the edge, like we have in the bottom. Probably just gonna go ahead and take this corn down and use it, grind it up, and use it as compost, put it into the compost. Or just chop and drop. Meanwhile, we have all these squash vines coming out. Those are butternut down there. I forget what that one is. This is cushaw. Or wait, yeah, that's cushaw. And here's a really pretty example of cushaw. This is a southern heirloom, and I got the seeds from Pinewood Farm, which recently closed after the big flood. So sad. We had many great lunches down there, and I did videos down there. Yeah, you get outside and you get eaten up. Now come on. Got a lot of winter squash in there. More cushaw. I'm not sure what this one is. I'm gonna have to look at my notes. And here are the cucumbers that just did not do well. I didn't get one, not one. They're too crowded to start with. Got a lot of mildew over there, can you see? A lot of mildew. So that means the mildew will be in the soil, and it'll be something I'll have to deal with on and on. But considering this was just a side yard with grass, see what you can do with just a little bit of imagination. The most important thing is to figure out where's your light and where's your water coming from. And after that, you just start taking out the grass. All these hostas just got weed whacked the last time. It's hard to, you know, they're here for such a short time, and there's 4 men and they're all over the place, and after they're gone I go, oh, what happened to the hostas? So our plan was to try to move this deck over there, if we could get it there intact, and stack all the firewood on it. This is if we can get it over there. But my neighbor told me yesterday it's just going to rot, and it will be a lot of work to try to get it over there in one piece. And he said we should just stack the firewood on field stones, which I have plenty of, and he's got a lot of rock he wants to give me too. Just have to go get it. These rocks are stacked up for the wall project over here, but you've never had a view of this place from up here. And I determined that this is where I want my greenhouse. This is not the big hoop house. This would be just a pretty little glass, recycled glass greenhouse that I could literally just walk out my back door over here and be on the driveway and just go right into the door, which would be right down there. So all of these leaves, there's no leaves in the winter. All of this stuff is just light coming up. So you'd have light all the way across the sky here and all the way till sunset. You'd have light here. Because of the way things have turned out, I just am feeling a little overwhelmed. And now that I felt this shift in the weather, and I'm feeling, oh my gosh, we have so much that absolutely has to get done before real winter sets in, that I just can't launch into that project as much as I would like to. The firewood is the #1 priority at this moment. I want to get it here, secure it, get it stacked, covered, and get ready for the winter. That would include splitting about 3 full-size trees of firewood, so I'll have to rent a splitter. All of this firewood has to be split and put on stored in the firewood area. This hay really should have been covered. I thought we were going to use it right away, and now it looks pretty nasty. But I'm planning to just put it on top of the side garden when we chop down the plants. And look, I could have a whole garden growing in here. I could have squash plants just in a hay bale garden right here. But eventually I'd like to see all this cleaned up, you know, and not just have all this construction material and everything sitting around and all these plants. Take a look at my potatoes. They are on their last legs. This is the second round. This one I would empty, except now it's got a little shoot there. These look done. This one is done over here. But look at these sweet potatoes. These were given to me by Daryl, and they're going to town. In fact, I could set them up there and just let the leaves cascade down the hay bales. I ought to do that. My Calamandin Lime is just loaded. Look at that. Aren't they gorgeous? I bet there's 100 on here. I only got the 1 passion fruit off of this vine this year, and I don't know how I'm going to take care of it this winter yet. Oh look, something was gnawing on this. I wonder if it was a caterpillar. It might have been a worm, I don't know. That never got planted out. A bunch of stuff never got planted out. including the Rose of Sharon and this banana tree. But that is going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Hi! Hi, babies! Hi, babies! Hi! 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 I'll be in there in a minute, okay? Oh, who's over here? Hi, BJ! Hi, BJ! Hi! I grew the container cucumbers, the Asti container cucumbers, seeds that were given to me by Jack Davis in Phoenix in here, and the zucchini in here. Zucchini plant is still looking reasonable. I took off 2 huge zucchinis yesterday and a huge cucumber off of that, although the leaves look terrible. And usually when leaves look terrible, the plant is about to give up the ghost. Not that many flowers left. I do expect to get 1 or 2 more cucumbers, but that'll be pulled pretty soon. No, I did not spray the leaves with anything. I think the only thing I sprayed that with was bug brew, and that was a long time ago. I didn't spray anything for the fungal disease. I just wanted to show you, you know, when some things are really beautiful, I've got to share. And all of these little plants that I didn't think much of, that I cut back in the winter, came back and now they're all blooming. Take a look. You probably know what they are, but they're all putting out the most beautiful purple blooms. Look at that. So pretty. You know, and this was planted by the former people here, obviously. So it's nice to have something pretty in every season in your garden. So there's a lot that still has to be done here. I am desperate to get my house power washed. I do not want to go into the winter, you know, when we start having nice cool days and I can sit out here without flies, and I understand flies are the next pestilence that's coming, and then mice. I heard that yesterday. So it was leg infection, poison ivy. What happened next? It was the oh gosh, the whole year. Now I'm just getting over chiggers. I decided to wear some shorts in the heat of August, and I got bit with a lot of chiggers, so they are just miserable. So anyway, when we can sit out here, I just don't want to be looking around and seeing all of this collection of cobwebs and dirt and just, I don't know, things just get dirty. I don't do anything out here, but it just gets dirty. So got to get the house power washed, got to get the windows washed. I'm getting 5 windows replaced in October. Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, I'm getting a whole house generator installed, I hope. And so there's a lot going on, and I just feel like I can't take on dive into another big project with so many loose ends. Things need to be cleaned up so that I can feel like I can really focus on the interior of my house, which I have just completely let go for 5 months, concentrating on the outside and my channel. So yesterday, when the man was here to figure out the materials list for the generator install, he noticed that BJ had something in the garage, and it was a baby king snake. And the reason we know that is because we put it in a cardboard box, and he took a picture of it and he sent it to his wife, who's a major nature sleuth, and she came right back and said it was a king snake. And you know, king snakes, if you saw that video with my nephew when we went down to see the beehives, he was saying the king snakes take care of the copperheads. And so I was talking to my neighbor yesterday and about this, and he was saying in his 30 years right down here, he has only seen 5 rattlers here, and he's never seen a copperhead. And he has cattle. He has a mom-calf operation, and so he has 100 acres up there on the hill. So he would have seen the copperheads, I think, if they had been around. So anyway, I managed to get this little snake from BJ and put it in the woods over there. So they lost track of it, and we'll see. We'll see. There were dead snake skins. There were feral cats that lived here before I came, and there were dead snake skins in the shop because they lived in the shop. So, or they slept in the shop. So, yeah, there's pluses and minuses definitely to having the cats. You know, they're going to keep the mice population down, but, you know, dogs and cats will eat quail eggs, for example. So he was telling me, my neighbor was telling me that there used to be a lot of quail around here, and there's not so much quail anymore. And that has something to do with it. So, you know, if somebody came here and said, you know, I could provide a really good home for these kitties, I probably would be compelled to relocate them. Okay, everybody, I got to get to work. I just wanted to show you, I got some new t-shirts. And I haven't had this larger size before, and it's so comfortable. So I've got a wedding this month, and I've got to focus on that. I've got a trip to Montana to make for that. And I got my dress finally. It's at the fitter. It's already been fitted, and she's going to be working on it. So I'll pick that up in a couple of weeks. And I've got to get shoes and so much going on. I'm just trying to keep my head above water. Anyway, lots to do. I'm sure you're busy too, so I appreciate you spending this time with me. I hope you subscribe. If you're starting over like me, you'll enjoy just hearing what the challenges are, what the benefits are, what the bounty is, the beauty. And be sure and tell a friend about my channel, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, click that bell for notifications, scroll down and hit all so you won't miss anything right here on my Tennessee homestead. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.